What's going on, guys? It's Ultimus, and this is our Legion PvP preview, just as the title says right up there at the top. As you can see it, I'm pointing to it, sort of, my fingers off camera, but I'm pointing to it. That's the thing. Ha! Been looking forward to this for a while. It's finally here. We're finally getting some information on how the entire PvP system is going to be different. They made no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They weren't beating around the bush. They told us flat out at Gamescom and then, of course, at BlizzCon as well that PvP is going to be changing entirely from how you earn gear, or therefore I should say how gear is basically no longer relevant, more or less. How you're going to earn rewards, no more honor or conquest, all that stuff. It's all different for the first time. Really, since the implementation of PvP, the entire system is being reworked. Because before, all they've really done is build upon what they had in place, the honor system. They tweaked it a little bit, and they added conquest, all that stuff. But this is all going to change in Legion. Now, whether these changes are going to be for better or for worse, that is yet to be seen. However, the attempt at something new, at least in my opinion, is quite nice. It's a breath of fresh air, and it's nice to see that Blizzard is rethinking things and willing to admit that, hey, this is what we've been doing for a while now. Maybe it's not working, or maybe we can do something better or more fun. So, as far as I'm concerned, Blizzard gets my support on this one. Now, that's not to say I'm looking at this entirely with rose-tinted, or tinted, I should say, glasses. As you can see, mine are perfectly clear if I hold them up to here. In fact, they make my eyes look huge when I am walking really close up to the camera here. Wow, this is going to be one of those videos. I'm excited. I really am. I've been looking forward to getting my hands, or my eyes in this case, on this information since Gamescom. And so we're going to go ahead and jump right into all this. This is pretty much going to address how the prestige system is going to work, how gearing is going to work, how PvP talents are going to work, the reward system, all that stuff. I've only briefly taken a glance at some of this through my Twitter feed, and so now that I'm here, I'm actually taking a look firsthand with you guys as we go through it. So, here we go. Blizzard has posted a preview of Legion PvP. Here are the highlights. Honor and conquest are no longer currencies. Honor points instead increase your honor level. As you increase your honor, you'll get gold, artifact power, and honor points. I suppose I should say right off the bat, we are going to go through this whole thing, so this might be a little lengthy one, so please hold on to your butts. So, no longer gaining honor points in the traditional sense. You're not going to have a cap of points, and then you spend them on gear, all that stuff. You're actually going to be receiving honor as a form of experience. That's going to increase your prestige level, and you're going to earn these through arenas, skirmishes, battlegrounds, all that stuff. I would imagine the higher rated content, you're going to get more experience, more or less. That's just my assumption. I could be wrong, though. And it looks like, from my impression of what I've been able to gather, is that the boxes and all of those that you earn from BGs and skirmishes, all that stuff, etc., are still going to be in the game, and they still have a chance to drop, I would imagine, some of the rewards listed above: honor, gold, artifact power, honor talents, all that good stuff. Talents, maybe not so much. We'll see. Honor talents are an additional set of talents that are active when players are in PvP instances or combat. So yes, that does affect world PvP. So arenas, battlegrounds, world PvP. So there's that. In PvP content, you will get a preset of set stats for your specialization. Your set bonuses, enchants, legendary bonuses, and trinkets, or trinkets, I should say, will be deactivated. This is an interesting move. This is the one that I feel like this is where things can get interesting. I don't know if this is good or bad. It seems to set the precedent and kind of level the playing field all around for everybody. So, hey, everybody's here. It doesn't matter. It seems to be more of a focus on skill-based PvP rather than procs and all that good stuff. I don't know. That's yet to be seen. But I feel like this is a step in the right direction if that's what they're going for. So, again, additional things. You get a preset of stats. So no more necessarily stat stacking, which can be a downside to a lot of people. I know a lot of people really enjoy the stat stacking aspect of WoW. But again, if this is what's going to help keep PvP a little bit more balanced, a little more fun, and more... I hate to use the word accessible because it's such a loaded word. But I guess accessible or easy to get into for people who are interested, or even people who want to PvP casually and aren't really interested in the high-rated arena stuff. This might make it a little more easy for them to get into it. It also, I think, gives you more options for open-ended content. You don't have to feel like you're locked into just PvPing or PvEing. since gear seems like it's going to carry over no matter where you go. So that should be very, very interesting as well. But it's interesting that the amount of things that they're disabling. Everything from set bonuses, enchants, which is huge, legendary bonuses, or trinkets. So the unfortunate thing is the legendary bonuses that are going to be attached to those world drops are going to be disabled in PvP. Now, I understand why they're doing it, but it just is kind of disappointing. I was really hoping that we were going to see some of those legendary procs and abilities on the world drop gear still be allowed in PvP. It just sounded fun. I still kind of miss that crazy, zany, random, like if you could get this really cool piece of gear, it was really helpful in PvP kind of a thing. And I do understand why they do it. And I'm sort of on the fence about it being okay with it. But at the same time, it's like if I get a really cool piece of gear, I want to be able to use it in PvP. So it is what it is. If I get a piece of the really cool legendary gear that's going to drop, who knows if I'll actually use it, because I rarely PvE, and so since it's useless in PvP, I don't know. That's yet to be seen. Of course, this is all still early alpha stuff, so a lot of this stuff could and possibly will change. Who knows which direction it will go, but that is that. It's also interesting, too, that trinkets will be deactivated. This isn't so much of a problem since basically they're addressing a lot of the trinket situations with the PvP talents, especially the free movement or the break CC talent that we're getting, all that. So, again, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. I'm just curious to see what damage and numbers are going to look like in PvP, because trinkets are a huge factor when it comes to your burst. And so it'll be interesting to see what all this looks like actually in it. But again, if they can get this to a point to where we're looking at PvP being more skill-based rather than whoever gets the luckiest with the procs, I could see a big resurgence in people returning to PvP. But again, I could be completely wrong on that one. Next point. Gear can still improve your character in PvP, but as an example, a 25 item level difference will result in a 2.5% difference, not a 25% difference. I believe they said basically the stats you get on your gear as you upgrade it is going to increase your stats by 0.5%. I think the math adds up on that one, right? 25 times 0.5 is 2.5, something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers. We do have the original blue post down here, which we probably should be going over anyways. But we're just going to hit these highlights. There are no specific PvP stats or fluctuating item levels in Legion. You can still earn some gear through PvP, and we've data mined many items yesterday. So we have a lot of the Vindictive PvP gear, which I'd imagine is down here somewhere. I'm curious, actually. We're gonna take a detour real quick, and we're going to click on this and see where this goes. Let's go down the rabbit trail. So what we do have here is actual clickable pieces of the gear and things like that, so where we can see what our stats are going to look like. So the stats are huge on that. Holy crap. Like, at this point, I'm really thinking, what was the point of that item squish? But hey, there it is, whatever. We don't have all of the items up, but we have an example of, I guess, what the stats are going to look like. As you can see, really no, like, secondary stats on them, because all of those are going to be tuned according to what your class needs and spec needs, so that should be interesting. This poses some interesting thoughts, because on one end, it's kind of cool that PvP stats or stats for PvP are going to be balanced around PvP. However, it is very interesting to me that Blizzard is going to have more control over how your character functions, per se, than you do. I mean, they kind of already do, because, I mean, they can completely nerf your class in the ground with one patch. And it'll be nice to see them be able to buff and nerf classes on the fly more so, like with each week's, hot fixes, all that good stuff. But I wonder how much control this is going to take away from players compared to how much we have now over how well your class performs. I don't know, especially in challenging metas. Like, everyone says this stat and this stat is best and optimal for your class. And I wonder if there's going to be much room for challenging any of that. It doesn't seem like it. So this is all very, very interesting. I think big changes like this are always exciting, but they're always scary, too, at the same time, just because you don't know what this is going to look like. And there's always just the nervous of, like, what are they going to do to my class? What are they going to do to my game? It makes us a little nervous as gamers. We have a hard time with change sometimes, I think. But I think for me, looking at a lot of these changes, it's like, okay, if I can go into this expansion just treating it like it's a brand new game and just not even holding on to what used to be, it's like, okay, well, that's not longer in the game anymore, so it's not relevant So I need to relearn what I'm doing now, and I find that to be extremely helpful with adjusting to these types of changes. But again, that's just my personal 2 cents on that one. End of season PvP rewards will be awarded separately to the top percentages of players in each faction, not overall player base. Okay, so that wasn't actually a rumor, that was legit. Basically, gladiator titles and rank 1 gladiator titles are going to be handed out based on the top percentage of your faction. So this is basically going to allow it to where you don't feel like you have to play Alliance or Horde one way or the other, just to be in the majority, to play with a bunch of different people more or less to get glad. I know a lot of people end up playing factions they don't really care for, and hopefully with some of the racial switching around and with this type of thing, we're going to see people being able to play more so what they want and not necessarily be punished for it. I know for me, like, I play Alliance because I like Alliance. I have always played a human warrior. From vanilla all the way up till now, that's just always what I've played. I played Horde for a little bit when I came back to WoW in Cataclysm at the end of Wrath of the Lich King, but then shortly after I just transferred back to Alliance because I kind of missed it. I just missed my human warrior. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's like feeling like I'm able to relate to my character or get more in my character's shoes. I don't know, but that's just the way it is. But I know a lot of people that really don't like playing Alliance. But for PvP, they feel like they're forced to because of racials, and that's where all their friends are playing. So this might address and be an actual remedy to that issue. Time will tell. Time will tell. In the end, I think people are going to play with their friends, essentially, and that's going to be the big determining factor, I think, is, okay, well, where are their friends playing? Where are the majority of their friends playing? But I do like that they're implementing the system that you don't necessarily have to compete with. And I feel like this would be an interesting... And I feel like even, like, if we're going to get into, like, the immersion factor of the game and start looking at potentially some lore stuff... This could make sense, too. It's like the Horde's going to have their gladiators and Alliance is going to have their gladiators, and so it wouldn't make sense that you would compare Horde gladiators to Alliance gladiators. Again, just thinking about this from a lore perspective, it would make sense that the Horde would anoint their Horde gladiators to be gladiators. They wouldn't necessarily care what the Alliance is doing, or vice versa, and not like there's any, at least as far as I know, any like head arena master that's like handing out these titles and stuff like that. So it just seems too cool, because I mean the whole idea for PvP from a immersion standpoint is you are competing against the enemy faction, so you shouldn't have to fight for rank with the enemy faction. It should be amongst your faction. So from a lore standpoint, as for someone who wants to really feel the immersion of his game here, I think this is kind of a cool change too. I don't know if anybody's thought about it like that. I might be all wet and crazy, but again, that's just kind of my 2 cents on it, so I'm going to share it with you guys, because this is my video, we going to do what we want. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Not enough coffee in this day. Prestige levels, the big one, the one that everybody's making fun of, and the one that everybody's really, really curious about. How is this going to work? Reach honor level 50, which grants access to high-level PvP talents, or you can turn in your honor level to gain a prestige level for rewards, such as titles, artifact appearances, mounts, and pets. These are possible data mined rewards for these things. What we're going to look at right here is we're getting a look at the wolf, which looks pretty dope. If you get a good look at this bad boy here, we're going to try to get a good... I like the colors on that. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's nothing new. It's not a new model, but it's still pretty cool looking, personally. I mean, it's not the coolest looking mount in the world, but it's kind of cool. And then here we're getting a reskinned version of our Warhorse as Alliance. I like the colors on that, personally. I think it looks pretty imposing. I like the red eyes, all that stuff. Pretty cool stuff, as far as I'm concerned. Curious what these are. Oh, these are the titles. That's interesting. Patron of War, Bound by Honor, Legendaries, the Unrelenting, oh snap, the Prestigious, and the Honorable. Those are kind of cool. So again, some pretty cool titles here on this one. Shorter PvP seasons, which means more frequent rewards. So how short? That's yet to be seen. But they're shooting for shorter PvP seasons, which I can get behind. I'm cool with that. Especially, again, they're just... I feel like they're trying to go the way of being able to be taken a little more seriously and be able to compete a little bit more as an esport. With quicker moving and paced seasons, quicker rewards, more incentive to be able to play what you want. I feel like PvP is getting a lot of attention this expansion, and it is much needed. PvP is definitely the one thing that's always been in flux and very volatile, and WoW, it's either been completely forgotten about or just kind of like tickled a little bit more or less, but never really dealt with on a major scale like this. We are getting 2 new arenas, which we have no screenshots of here. On this one, I might see... Oh, we got a couple screenshots here. Let's go ahead and go back real quick. So what we're looking at here on this one, and I do apologize for the white screen. Let's see if we can just zoom in a little bit better here. Okay, cool. So what we're looking at here, and I'm going to take the webcam off just briefly so we can take a look at this, is the Ravenholt arena, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So I might even try to find some other screenshots of this on the web and drop in as well, just so we can get some better shots of it. But the arena itself looks cool. I like the dark, foreboding feel they got going on here. The pillar in the center is kind of crazy. And from what I've been able to pick up on after looking at some other screenshots, you're going to be able to come out over to a lot of these outer areas and walk around the outsides, potentially, and go behind pillars over there. Which that in and of itself is kind of crazy. I think that some of the line of sight things that we're going to be running to in this arena is going to be interesting. Especially if we can go back in here around that area that I don't know. As long as it doesn't turn into something very similar to the Ruins of Lordaeron arena, where people can like hide back in their starting gate areas and they can just like hide down there. Like that gets a little bit annoying. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think it's cool that we are getting 2 new arenas right off the bat. Without any questions or any wondering, okay, are we going to get arenas or not? Like, just right off the bat here, initially, Blizzard's like, hey, this expansion's launching. Boom, 2 new arenas. No new announcements of Battlegrounds yet, which is a little disappointing, but since arena is kind of the big focus in PvP anyways, it makes more sense that we would get 2 arenas right off the bat, and it's kind of nice that we're getting 2, not 1. So I'm like, maybe not. I'm kind of okay with there not being any new BGs, but I know I'm probably alone at that one, so that's okay. All right, let's take a look at the blue post really quick. Again, this is going to be going into some more details on some of the issues here that we've been going over. We looked at the highlights, so let's go ahead and jump in and look at some of the details. The honor system. In Legion, honor and conquest will no longer be currencies that you use to buy gear from vendors. Instead, characters who have reached maximum level will earn honor points from competing in battlegrounds or arenas, similar to how lower level players earn experience points. As you earn honor points, you will increase your honor level up to the maximum honor level of 50. Along the way, you'll earn a number of rewards, including gold, artifact power, and a brand new set of PvP-only honor talents. So we know what the honor talents are. We pretty much know how they work. That's really nothing new there. And these are going to be talents, again, just that are only accessible and usable in PvP. They are not going to affect your raid whatsoever. They will be active when you're in arenas, battlegrounds, and world PvP, and that is it. Now, the potential danger with this, I feel, is if you're someone who PvPs even casually, you'll get used to having whatever is in your PvP talent tree. And it might make your class feel a little bit lackluster when you go into a PvE situation. If that's the case or not, that's yet to be seen, but I feel like that is a potential danger. And I would be kind of silly not to bring it up. Because, again, I want to make sure that you guys understand I'm not looking at this as being like, you know, this is the best thing ever and Blizzard can do no wrong. Like, they have a lot of my support, and I will forever defend them from people who are just absolute douchebags and bash on Blizzard because it's the cool thing to do. But I know Blizzard isn't perfect, and with any game, with any changes that are implemented, just like with anything in real life, anytime you attempt to make a change, even for the better, there is the potential for it to backfire. There is nothing that is established that does not have the potential to also create some negative effects as well. So we'll have to wait and see what this looks like. Hopefully with the artifact weapon having such a core part of your abilities and what you do as a class, hopefully that should keep things exciting, especially since so many classes are getting reworked anyways as it is. I think maybe just having all the newness floating around for everybody will help keep things from feeling stale if you're used to having your PvP talents and then you suddenly don't. But as with everything we speculate on, that's yet to be seen, and we'll have to wait and see what it looks like actually in the game. Kicking it into gear here. So if you're not earning honor points or conquest to purchase gear anymore, how will your equipment contribute to your character strength in PvP? The answer is it won't. Much, in parentheses. In Legion, as soon as you zone into PvP instance, the stats on your gear will be nullified, and you'll be given a predetermined set of stats that's uniquely configured for your specialization. Furthermore, any set bonuses, enchants, legendary bonuses, or trinket effects will be deactivated, although your artifact and its related artifact powers will remain active. So again, no enchants, no legendary bonuses, no set bonuses, no trinkets, none of that. only what you gain from your artifact weapon, which is probably why the artifact is so strong and has so much crazy stuff attached to it, because none of our other typical procs and damage boosters and effects are going to be available to us. So, that being said, the only contribution your gear will make to your overall power is through a small modifier based on your average item level. For every point that your average item level increases, your predetermined PvP stats will increase by 0.1%. That means a 25 item level difference between two players will only result in a 2.5% difference in stats compared to the 25% difference it makes today. There's still a little incentive to improve your gear, a concept we think is important for World of Warcraft, but the benefits are much less pronounced. So, there you have it. That's how that's going to work. Again, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I'm nervous about it, but I'm also excited because, again, it sucks to fall behind. This might make it a little bit easier to play alts. Who knows? But overall, I think keeping things... And I think that this is the best way to keep things balanced and try to at least attempt and make a valiant attempt at a skill-based game for PvP. I'm going to miss one-shot and two-shot kids in Battlegrounds, especially when they're under-geared and they're just trying to get gear. There's just something so satisfying about that. But if this gets more people into PvP, I'm okay with that. I really am. Because on one end, I know I'm not the only one trying to PvP, and I know World of Warcraft is a big game, and I want other people to have fun playing this too. And so if I don't get a two-shot, three-shot people, whatever it is, for the sake of someone else having some fun, sweet. If this gets more people queuing and playing games, so queue times will go down, sweet. If this gets more people or doing arenas, so that means I have more chances and more options of people to do arenas with, awesome. I benefit in the long run. In the end, more people playing means I, myself, as a player, win. I mean, as long as they're not toxic and douchebags, which is always the potential anyways. But the biggest problem with PvP right now, overall, is that not enough people are PvPing. That's just the sad fact. Not enough people are PvPing right now. And so, with changes like this rolling out, I think we might begin to see more people getting into PvP, which again is always a good thing because more people means more games, means more people to play with, means you have an opportunity to make more friends, which means I have an opportunity to make more friends. So again, I'm always down for that. Let's take a look at this note really quick here for equipping for battle. Even though your gear has very little impact on the strength of your character in instance PvP, and you won't be spending Honor or Conquest to buy gear from vendors, we still want you to be able to earn gear through PvP. We like how the Strongbox system has worked out so far in random battlegrounds and skirmishes, and so we're working on a similar system for Legion with some major improvements. In Legion, you'll earn gear simply from completing battlegrounds or arenas. In rated matches, the quality of the gear will be increased based on your rating. That's interesting to me. Of course, that's in addition to the honor you'll earn towards unlocking your honor talents. So again, lots of rewards for PvP now. Not just a couple points at the end of the match and a congratulations saying you won. Sweet. There's actual rewards now for PvP, and they've done a good job with this for Battlegrounds anyways with the lockbox system as it is. But I feel like the fact that they're building on it is a cool thing. That they're like, okay, sweet, we did something cool. How can we make it cooler? So, kudos on that one. Being able to still earn gear for PvP, always a great thing. Also, we're doing away with the idea of PvP-specific gear since your stats are predetermined. Trinkets and set bonuses are disabled, and your item level gives only a small increase. We don't need to worry about making you wear a separate set of gear in PvP. So, in Legion, gear is gear, regardless of where you earned it, with no PvP-specific stats or fluctuating item levels, and the best players in both PvP and PvE content will be able to earn the best gear, flat out. So, again, I know that's a controversial topic for a lot of people. People for a long time have complained, saying, oh, well, I mean, because you look at, like, back in Vanilla, if you were a Raider, you had the best gear, and that was all there was to it. I mean, for a while, the Grand Marshal or High Warlord gear was the best you could get, even out of PvE gear, but eventually that got replaced too. Here, with how they're scaling and setting everybody at a predetermined set of stats, it doesn't matter. So seeing a bigger influence there from a lot of other games, as far as just your queuing in, this is your character stats, learn how to play it, the better player's going to win. Flat out, I can get behind that. I'm a little scared, though, because, quite frankly, I'm really not that great, and so this means I might be starting out way down at the bottom again. But it is what it is. I mean, I'll just have to adjust and hopefully get better. We talked about rewards a little bit already. Nothing really needs to be said about that. We already addressed that one. Let's talk about prestiges. All for the prestige. However, once you've reached honor level 50, you'll have a tough choice to make. You'll be given the option to Prestige, which will reset the honor level back to 1, and once again restricting access to higher level honor talents. However, in return, you'll increase your Prestige level, which grants access to a number of other rewards, including a badge based on your Prestige level, which appears on the scoreboard in battlegrounds and arenas, as well as your nameplate and unit frame. Kind of cool. A title, also based on your Prestige level, a wearable faction pennant, a new appearance for your artifact, and a unique mountain pet. So definitely a good chunk of rewards there. I like that they're adding unique artifact weapon skins for your artifact weapon, and of course unique mounts and pets. And I'd imagine the cool thing about this is probably going to change, and the rewards are going to look a little bit different as each PvP season comes in, which I'm a big fan of. I know a lot of people are really concerned with how Prestige is going to work, especially if they're trying to still compete in high-level PvP and push rating. Again, I'm not really sure how that's all going to work. It says the higher your Prestige level, the better rewards you'll have access to. We set the Prestige system as a great way for players who aren't interested in pursuing higher rating but still enjoy PvP to have their own unique rewards to chase after. So it's definitely more in mind to give people who aren't into super high rated PvP something to do. But I know high rated PvPers are going to chase after this. Now, how quickly we're going to level up our Prestige level, that's yet to be determined. We'll have to wait and see what experience looks like. But Blizzard is stating that even if you reduce your Prestige level back to 0 and you have to start over from scratch, which I know I will be doing because I want all the artifact stuff and I want the mount, but you're still going to be able to compete and be relevant in Arena. That, again, we'll have to see. I don't know how this is going to work out. But again, I do like the changes, and I like what they're proposing. It's cool to see PvP getting this much attention. Normally, like, every other expansion, PvP is like a little sub point on the announcements and stuff like that. So the fact that PvP is getting this much attention this expansion is just, it's nice. It's a good time to be a PvPer. I'm not gonna lie. And it's not any secret that WoW is a PvE heavy game. It's a lore heavy game. I don't have any beef with that. I really don't. But at the same time, it's nice to know that PvP isn't just an afterthought anymore, or at least it's not just something you do to fill time while you're not reading. So, kind of cool, that one. Talked about the new arenas, so we won't really touch on those anymore. We do, however, have some new PvP models for the gear, and I'd like to point out that this Death Knight Elite model looks insanely cool. Personally, I really like those shoulders a lot. Like, a lot. This armor also looks insanely Diablo-esque. What do we got here? This is the Demon Hunter, I believe, which is kind of cool. Demon Hunter Elite. And then we have the Druids, which are also kind of cool here. We have our Hunter set. Digging those shoulders. What's on those shoulders? Oh, just skulls. It's like feathers. Makes sense. Windrunner stuff. Or Sylvanas type stuff, I guess. Sylvanas Windrunner. All that good stuff. Pretty spiffy. The Warlock set looks kind of dope. Like, look at those shoulders and that mask. Holy butts. What the heck? It's like Satan himself crafted that armor. That's insane looking. It's actually creepy with the eyes. Ooh. Ooh. I'll take my warrior gear, thank you very much. At least we look somewhat normal. Spikes all over the place, but that's okay, because at least... Oh my gosh, what have I done? Spikes all over the place, but hey, at least we don't have, like, Satan dwelling in our armor. I'm imagining... Okay, this is all honor sets. Ooh, that looks kind of cool. That's got to be something paladinish, right? That's kind of interesting looking. I'm not sure how I feel about that helmet thing, but the shoulders are kind of cool. Especially if they have like little animations that light up or do stuff. I can respect that. So, kind of some crazy new stuff that they're proposing. I really can't wait to get my hands on it and check all of this out. Just to see which predictions are right, who you know, as far as the major PvPers and people who know this game very well, who's been right, who's, you know, making all these predictions about things like that. And I really want to know just what this is going to look like. And of course, it's new content. So new content is always exciting. And again, it is just nice to see PvP getting such a good amount of attention this expansion. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully beta starts rolling out soon, though I know they did say it's not going to be rolling out until at least the beginning of the year. So we'll be in alpha through December, which is fine. I just hope I have access to it, at least beta, because that would be really nice. And I'm actually going to be really sad if I don't get access to beta this time around. Rip my life. I don't think there's anything else to really go over. We've been slowly going through all of the artifact weapon stuff on our own on a different video series. So, I hope that cleared up some of the questions you guys might have about PvP. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. I will answer them as best I can if I know the answer. Or I might be able to point you in the direction of a place that does with links, etc., etc. But don't forget to hit this video with a like if you enjoyed it. Give it a share to spread some love around. And I think that's going to do it, maybe, possibly. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I did. At least enjoy talking about it. I'm excited to see what this all looks like in game, what the gear looks like, what the class changes are going to be, and just I'm excited to get into Legion PvP. There's so many cool things coming for this. I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air for PvP, and hopefully this is going to be a great time for people who have maybe been interested in PvP but not really sure they want to, or they're a little scared to be able to get into it and wet their feet a little bit. So with that, as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as I said before, and I'll catch you next time.